Hello, it's me. And on this episode of this show that I have entitled Process This, I want to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about, and that's writing. I love to write. So I want to give you some writing 101, some things that I learned along the way, some things that I believe that if you inspire to be a writer that you need to know to avoid pitfalls. Because at the time that I began writing, I had never met anyone to have written a book. So I got a crash course in writing. And it all started for me back in 2009, shortly after my little brother passed away. I needed an outlet in order to help me to really cope with his loss. Now, the book has nothing to do with his life or his loss, but I found it to be very therapeutic. And as I continued to move forward with it, I discovered that I really enjoyed writing. I never set out to be a writing. I'm not a writing major. Um, in fact, in my publications, there are mistakes, and I'm aware that there were early mistakes. However, I still pushed out what I needed, what I thought that needed to be said. Now, the truth is, the publishing house that I used, I expected for them to comb through the book, and I paid about $1,000 at the time, and they were supposed to do some things for me. They didn't do anything. They didn't help me to promote the book. They didn't help me to. They didn't edit the book or any of those things, and that's okay because by making those mistakes, it made me better over time. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, most publications have errors in it from some of the most renowned writers. I just didn't know that I should have, did, excuse me, first read, second read, had editors and all of that stuff. But you live, you learn, and when you know better, you do better. Now, I'm not suggesting that some of my publications today still don't have errors, but I would like to believe that they're very minimum in comparison. As someone who took the time to learn how to do this craft, I want to now help other people in order to get whatever their thoughts are. You see, I have a really huge head, and there's a lot of information trapped in here, man. I'm talking about whether I'm doing articles on my website, whether I'm making these YouTube videos down. There's a lot of information I have in my head, and I have to have a way to push that stuff out. And writing is just the perfect thing for me. I have written so many books over the years. In fact, I've written books that I've forgotten about. I have even written books that I have retired. Now, the retirement part of some of my publications is intentional because that means that they're rare. But at any time, I can unretire those publications and put them back out for distribution. And so, but what I want you to understand about writing is this: your first book should not be about you. I'm not saying that you're not important. Heck, I don't even know you, and you're important to me simply because you're alive. But what you need to understand is that the average book sells less than 100 copies. The people that you can expect to buy your first book will probably be your friends, your family, and some of that they will do just because they want to support you. The average author sells less than 100 books. So if you're going to take the time to sit down and write, and for most people, it takes them a long period to write a book. You want to be able to reach more than 100 people. At the time that I wrote my first book, I didn't have a number in my head of units that I wanted to sell. In fact, your boy was really selling books the same way that Master Pete used to sell CDs out the trunk of my car. I sold so many copies of my first books, um, bootleg, underground, however you want to call it, because I didn't understand the proper channels to take. Yes, people could order the books through Books a Million, Barnes and Nobles, and things like that. But I discovered some things along the way to where if I really wanted to capitalize, I needed to do it that way, or so I thought. Because the other piece of it, what I didn't realize was that by selling those books um, out of the back seat and trunk of my car, those books were not being tallied up in numbers for sales, which meant that my royalty that I received was very low. So I don't want you to make those same mistakes. I don't want you to make the mistake of writing a book about yourself, because even though you are important, the truth is you're not a celebrity. And people don't care about you until they know who you are. So if you want to sell tens of thousands of copies, hundreds of thousands of copies, don't write the book about your life. Your first book should not be an autobiography. Yes, there's other people may be able to resonate with your story, but that doesn't mean they don't have a story of their own. And we believe that, other people need to know this experience that I've went through, and this is going to help them. And you're not wrong. It can and it will help them, but you have to do that in spurts. You can't throw it all out there at once. After all of these years, I've never written an autobiography. I've provided a lot of content. I've written books on entrepreneurship. I've written books on relationships. I've written books on politics. I've written books on quotes. I've written books on philosophy. I've written books on religion. I've written books on social issues. I've done a lot of writing. Okay, let me just put it that way. So what I'm telling you is for your own benefit, so that you will be able to succeed in writing. But the first thing you have to do, my friend, is you have to begin to write. You will never become an author if you do not write to release your content. Throughout the years, I have come across so many different people who have told me, wow, I've always wanted to write a book. I just don't know where to start. Here's where you start. You start by writing, and you develop a writing plan. That way you can successfully complete your product if you're serious about doing so. That's the way that I still write. I develop a writing plan. Now I will tell you that with experience I have, I can write a book, a complete book, within a few weeks. Honestly speaking, my book Quote Me, that came out on January of last year, that was my first #1 new release. And my daughter, if she was here, she could attest to it. I wrote the entire book in less than 24 hours. Now it was I locked myself into a room and I did not come out. And I just sat in there and wrote a bunch of quotes, and compiled a lot of quotes that I thought that would be meaningful for people. And I did that within a day. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should take that approach, because that's chaotic and crazy. But it was something that I did to challenge myself. Take time to put out a quality product, but in the process of taking that time, make sure that you're not procrastinating. Make sure that you're not allowing the what ifs to prevent you from doing something that you say that you really want to do, and get it finished. Now, I will share this with you. I do offer a master's course, or I have offered a master course in the past on writing, and I do offer a author development program through my website www.corneliusdjones.com, where I mentor and coach writers from the beginning to publication. Like, so every single week there is contact and access to myself, where I go over that stuff with you. But I'm not trying to market that here in this moment. I'm simply just trying to encourage somebody who has a desire to be a writer to become a writer. So be honest with yourself. What do you want to write? What do you hope that this will change in the lives of other people? And then just move forward. In the books that I have written, I have never locked myself into one genre. Right? I just talked about some of the different areas that I've written books in. And even though it may sound schizophrenic, it means that I'm a out of the box type of author. I'm not afraid to take a chance and write about anything, because I trust that the information that I'm putting out will serve as a benefit to the readers. And it's okay not to get locked into romance or self help or this or that. if you really want to succeed, because you have to understand that readers make up a large audience, and there are a lot of different people who may find interest in a lot of different things. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So as I wrap up this episode of Process This with me, your boy, just want to share that thought on Writing 101. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw your comments on this video, or find other avenues to reach out to me. I gave you my website already, so I'm not going to repeat that. Until the next time, you guys stay encouraged.